Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from simpleprogrammer.com. So I'm here in Stockholm, Sweden. I actually have a stabilizer for my phones. So I thought I'd do a quick video on something that I saw that was kind of interesting. I'm not at the actual museum now, but I went to this place called the Vasa Museum, which is this museum which is constructed around this ship, this warship that was created, this huge warship, and it actually sunk on its maiden voyage. In fact, it got like 500 feet from shore and then immediately sunk. It's kind of tragic. 18 people died. It was this huge, and it was a huge, massive ship. I mean, taking up the size of an entire building. But I thought this was kind of interesting, not just from a historical perspective, but just from the idea of what can happen. I thought it was a good reminder of entrepreneurship and what can happen as an entrepreneur, and how, you know, you can spend a lot of time working on something and then it ultimately fail the day that you launch it. Now, fortunately, I haven't had too many of those experiences as an entrepreneur, at least nothing the size of this ship, but I've definitely had minor experiences. So just to give you some background on that ship, it was constructed, I think they started construction in 1965? No, sorry, 1625, and then they finished it in 1628, and that's when it made its maiden voyage. I don't know why I was thinking 19. That would be kind of weird. But anyway, 1625 to 1628. So basically what they did was spend 3 years building this ship, this huge, massive ship. If you go into the museum, there's all this ornamentation from like Greek gods. Like they've got this cool Hercules statue, the Baroque style type of decoration, all these symbols on the masthead, and all of these, like all this art that they put into this, all this really care in this construction. Then if you can imagine spending 3 years constructing this ship, you know, procuring all these artists to do this fine work on the artistry in the ship, you know, all the things that go into constructing a seaworthy vessel. And then as soon as you're ready for this maiden voyage, as soon as you're ready to embark, you've tested everything, you've done everything to the best of your ability, you go out, you know, 500 feet from shore, and then the ship keels to the left, and all water comes running into the cannon ports, and you're done. You're pretty much just done in, like, you know, 15 minutes. You're at the bottom of the ocean. So I thought that was kind of cool. Just kind of interesting. Check it out if you haven't. You know, do a Google search and you can find out more history on it. But just from an entrepreneurial perspective, if you think about it, right, that's sort of the risk that you're taking. A lot of people have asked me, I've talked about, you know, being an entrepreneur and just some of the reasons why that you have to be pretty tolerant of risk, is because, you know, honestly, like when you do something like that, when you embark upon an entrepreneurial venture, there's a really good chance that you're going to end up with a sunken ship 500 feet from shore. You know, if you can spend a whole bunch of time working on something, right? For those of you that are thinking about, you know, creating some kind of software, and you've got this great idea for some product that you want to create, think about, you know, just know in your head that there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee of success, you know, and that's why for a lot of people, you know, entrepreneurship might not actually be for you. It might be better to just get a regular job, because when you have a regular job, you're going to get a paycheck, and you know you're going to get a paycheck. But when you're an entrepreneur, you could literally be building a ship for 3 years, spending a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort in that, and then end up just having it sink about, you know, as soon as you launch the thing. So then the other thing about this is you have to be ready for it. You have to be ready for multiple times that this is going to happen, right? There's a lot of different type of business ventures that I've been involved in that did not work out very well, right? Nothing that I really, you know, spent 3 years of my life building and then have it spectacularly fail, but certainly things that I've spent a couple of weeks on, a couple of months on, you know, things that I invested a lot of time and money, and then it actually ended up costing me more money in the end. So you just have to be prepared for that, and you have to give yourself, you know, the best thing I'd say if you are interested, even after this horror story, is that you have to give yourself enough time and enough tries in order to learn and to get lucky to some degree, because some of it, I mean, if you think about it, with that Vasa ship, right? Everyone tried to blame, the shipbuilder, right? And then they tried to blame the king, and they tried to like figure out, like everyone who sees that and goes into the museum says, oh, well, they must not have listened to the architect, or they must have changed his plans, or the king must have wanted more cannons. And if you look up the history of it, that's not true. They investigated all those things, and none of those things are true. Everything was done perfectly, as perfectly as they could, right? The architect who came up with the design for the ship designed it. It wasn't trying to cut corners. The builders of the ship weren't trying to cut corners. The king wasn't trying to push his way, right? It's just, you know, and this is the thing, is you got to think about this as well, is why do people try to do that? Why is the first reaction that people have when they go into that Vasa museum, you know, myself included, and everyone I was with, why do they try to find some reason for this, right? Someone to blame, some reason why this happened. Oh, someone cut corners, someone made a mistake, someone didn't listen. Because it's scary to think that you can do everything right and still fail miserably, right? And that there's no way you could have seen it coming. You always want to find some kind of reason, some kind of way to explain why something bad happens. But sometimes, you know, there's nothing to explain. You do everything right, everything goes wrong. And that's just the life of an entrepreneur. All right, well, if you like this video, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you click that subscribe button. You'll see all of my trip. I'm gonna be traveling through Europe, gonna be hitting a bunch of different locations, and I'll be doing videos from all those spots. So make sure you click that subscribe button and click the bell so that you don't miss any of the videos that I do here as I'm traveling Europe. All right, I'll talk to you next time. Take care.